it appears that we need to have a discussion about socialism. Because if you ask 100 different people, and I've seen this particularly um, lately with my social media activities and such, but if you ask 100 people what is socialism, you'll get darn near 100 responses. One person, if you ask what is socialism, if you ask one person, he might say it means big government. Well, no, it's not. It does not. That's not what socialism means. Yes, there are areas that would need to be controlled by legislature, and some areas of the government might grow. But there's just as many areas of the government that would need to go away and or become smaller. So no, it's not. It does not mean big government. That's not what the word socialism means. Um, that this fear of government is also unnecessary. If it is a good government, if it's honest government, open government, and it represents the people like democratization is supposed to, if there's free and fair elections, and the government is held responsible by the people, then there's nothing wrong with any size of government, and under those circumstances. But at any rate, if you ask another person, well, what is socialism? Well, he might say, well, socialism means for everyone to have the same thing. One person doesn't make any more than another. Well, that's also untrue. It, we can prevent extremes. We can say, well, this person over here should not be having no shoes on his feet, walking down the street homeless with 15 cents in his pocket and can't afford the next meal. We can also prevent someone else from having $15 billion and, like I said, causing the former. I addressed this in the article that I wrote as well. I said, and I'm going to quote this to the best of my memory. I didn't write this down. Perhaps I should have. But I said something to the effect that for the man sweeping the floor at McDonald's to make the same paycheck as the CEO of NASA is not egalitarianism. In other words, that's not equality. That's not equal. If those two people are earning the exact same paycheck, that is not egalitarian. Nor that's not fair in any way, to put it simply. That also stifles creativity to have an environment where that would be the case. The misdefinitions of socialism abound. At any rate, that would also stifle competition too, if it were true. By the way, just throw that out there. We want competition. We want someone to say, no, I want to make just a little bit more. That's good. That should always remain the American dream. Bunch of buffoons. But anyway, which kind of brings me to the third point I wanted to make. Democratic socialism. Democratic socialism is not somewhere in between democratic and socialism. It's not the neutral zone in between these two very different ideologies. Democratic socialism is a form, a type, a genre of socialism. Used in a sentence, I am referring to the democratization of the means of production. As in a general sense, in an ambiguous sense, socialism is defined as control over the means of production by the population. That is the general definition of socialism that Wikipedia would give you, Google, etc. If you were to just type in definition of socialism, it would be the control over the means of production by the population. So when I say democratic socialism, I'm speaking of a particular type of socialism, and I'm only being specific. I am saying the democratization of the means of production, and I'll leave it at that. The misdefinitions of socialism abound, and we need to learn how to approach information and how to challenge old ideas in a much more serious way, particularly going into not just the next 4 years, but to pay attention to the elections coming up in 2 years, to think through this process and become more involved, and to understand political terms better than we do. Because if we get stuck in this situation, the cycle that we put ourselves in, of a centrist Democratic Party and a far-right Republican Party, the cycle is going to continue. Both of these capitalist establishment parties are going to be tripping over each other in fossil fuel money and basically destroying our entire biosphere in this fight for power. So socialism is one of the major words, in my opinion. We need to learn that we need to learn what this is. Look at this alternative here, because we're destroying ourselves, we're destroying our environment, destroying our inner social relationships and our societal structure. Uh, but at any rate, I'll leave it at that. My name is Devin Jones. You can follow me on Twitter at hippie activist, hippie with a Y, activist on Twitter. And you have a blessed day.